Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Deb and this is DebLevArt. And today I wanted to just take you through some progress on my new painting I've been working on, all about a past life that I've had, and it's in a place called Lemuria. So I talked about it at length, how I got the idea of synchronicities and signs downloads from Spirit and my team, and like the just extensive extensive list of synchronicities that happen for me to realize that I need to paint this painting. And even more happened this week. So I thought I would kind of share those and then just show you some of my progress. It has really been super fun to paint this and using all these like beautiful bright neon colors. So the first synchronicity that I came across was my students at school. I put up a 5-minute, what I call art start. So they draw anything they want, or I put up a prompt. And the prompt this last week was just use black and white. So it wasn't anything to do with Lemuria. But I did start playing music from Lemuria. So there's this YouTube channel that I follow, and while I paint, I listen to this music that is very much like, kind of brings out that inner like ocean feel and just real spiritual, and you feel like you're in Lemuria, which was this past life ocean, sea, world filled with mermaids and dolphins and whales, and the whole world was the whole continent was filled with just peace and unity. And I go into depth in it in my last video. And so I started playing some of that music during my class, and I just thought, I wonder what will come of it. But the drawing prompts, just were basic. They had nothing to do with ocean life, nothing. So in the meantime, I had been creating my sketch for this painting for a couple of weeks at the time. And I'll put up an overlay so you can see it. And I had been working on it, and I had a student who I just chose to have that student share out what he made during our art start. And he basically had the crux of what I had in my painting. He had a fish jumping up in front of the moon, and then down below he had these little water waves, just like I had. My students had not seen my sketchbook or anything. They don't come up to me, and I kind of keep it private anyway. It's just for me, and I work on it at school, and they work on their sketchbooks. So he shared, and I said, oh my gosh, like I have to show this class, I have to show this kid my artwork and my sketch for this painting. And they were all just like, wow, that's crazy how, it's so similar to my drawing to his drawing and his drawing to my drawing. And so I thought it just was really cool. I always, once in a while, get a student who is that messenger or that sensitive soul who will reflect right back to me exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know I'm supposed to be working on this. And then I asked him a little bit. I said, is this a whale? Like what kind of, fish is it? He said, it's just a fish. I said, okay. I said, mine is a whale that I'm painting. And I said, I asked him, do you love the ocean? Like, what's your, tied to it? He said, I love it. It's my favorite place in the world. And I thought, I wonder if we were buds on a past life in Lemuria, this continent that was in this past life. So I thought that was really cool. I had another really wild synchronicity that happened this last week as well. So like I said, they're coming in hot. This one, I was behind a Jeep just on my way to work. So early morning, I've been super tired the last 2 weeks, like absolutely exhausted. And I think astrologically, that's kind of what's happening for a lot of people. But I was behind this Jeep and the license plate said GBR, the number 4, and then EVR. So GBR forever. And I thought for a second, what's GBR? Like Gerber forever. I had no idea. And then, a couple seconds went by and I thought, Great Barrier Reef forever. And I have no ties to Great Barrier Reef. I didn't know if that was accurate at all. I just am very clueless about it. I've heard of it. That's about the extent of my knowledge. So I go to work. I just kind of put it in the back of my head. Go to work. And rarely do I walk around the building in the morning, but I had to run an errand to give something to a kid in another class in the morning. And I had stopped in our media center and the librarian was there. So I just said hi really quick. And I noticed she had on her big desk, they're the huge half round desk, nothing, but there was this one book just laying out and it had a giant sea turtle on it and it said the Great Barrier Reef. And I thought, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So I told her my synchronicity. She's kind of open, which is nice. And I said, I think I'm definitely supposed to look up the Great Barrier Reef. And so anyway, I had also envisioned that sea turtle, in another painting, besides this one about Lemuria, with the whale. I want to eventually make one that has a big sea turtle. So that had been in my head a little bit, just before I started this one. So I go to look up the Great Barrier Reef and what it's all about. And I'm seeing a bunch of coral, obviously, and beautiful ocean sea life. And I noticed that the colors of the coral were bright neon colors, similar to what I'm painting. So I do believe there's some sort of connection. I started to include some sea coral, those bright neon colors with my current painting, and I'll continue doing that. And I've just been researching and watching. There's a documentary on Netflix that I watched, or I'm currently watching, and all about coral and the Great Barrier Reef. And so I'm just getting myself really educated. It's super interesting too, because along with Lemuria and Hawaii, Australia had come up a ton for me over the last month. I'm even doing an Australian mask project with my students that I haven't done in, I want to say 10 years, something like that, because we just have rotating artwork. But I thought, oh, this is really cool. I'm definitely supposed to dive into the Great Barrier Reef, maybe in person one day. That would be amazing. But yeah, so those are some of the couple synchronicities that were just, to me, they are just mind-blowing. What are the chances? And I looked up online Great Barrier Reef. Apparently they call it GBR, that's what it's referred to. And I had no clue, zero clue about it. So it's synchronicities and signs like that guide me every day in my paintings. I've become so open to them that I feel like they just flow through me now. They come to me, they come through me, and I translate what I get into my painting. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of, tell you about some of those synchronicities, not get my intro too long this week, but yeah, I'll take you through the rest of my start to my painting. And there's a little bit too, I stop in the video to tell you what has been happening as I'm painting these hummingbirds as well. So I've gotten some interesting little tidbits that happen there too, and I do believe was spirit coming through. So as always, thank you for being here. Please subscribe, comment. I am just growing and trying to record weekly and keep you up to date with what I'm doing with my paintings. And I'm really enjoying posting here on YouTube Shorts, and my Instagram. I'm DebLevArt, literally everywhere. So feel free to follow along, and thank you for joining me. have been working on this painting, specifically the 3 hummingbirds, or the 2 hummingbirds. I already did worked on the first hummingbird, but last night I decided to add 2 more hummingbirds. 3 hummingbirds specifically is a number for me for specific friend that passed away, and she was like a second mom to me. Whenever there's 3 hummingbirds, or I put 3 hummingbirds in, that kind of refers to her. The first hummingbird is always for my dad, and he was my sign a long time ago for him kind of communicating with me. But as I thought was unique today, because as I kept painting the hummingbirds, I've been back and forth in this room over the course of several hours, twice sitting down painting hummingbirds, and birds keep flying by my window, which is really interesting because they weren't doing that with me painting, this bottom portion at all. So I just wanted to kind of hop on here and kind of talk about what I noticed was these not hummingbirds, but these birds keep flying right by this window, like super close to this window as I'm painting the 2 other hummingbirds. So I like to think those are my people kind of saying hi, or I'm on the right track. I also noticed today I always feel kind of agitated in the morning, and then in the afternoon, once I am able to sit down and work on my painting, I feel like on the weekends, I feel like a lot better. I feel like myself. And I noticed right away as I was starting to paint, I saw these little orbs, these little flashes of light kind of floating. And I always say hi because I think they're my angels and guides. So I always say, hey, how's it going? And please guide me. And then I did notice as I was painting this hummingbird, the back top right side of my head just started to tingle a little bit. And I always see that as a sign of spirit, just kind of like working through me. I've had head tingles for a long time now, several years, and it's kind of amazing when it happens. So when everything kind of happens all at once, just start to put together those little signs and synchronicities, those little breadcrumbs from spirit. It's just, it just feels really good to kind of be guided in this way. So yeah, just wanted to hop on here, tell you a little bit about what was going on painting these hummingbirds today. researching some of the coral in the Great Barrier Reef, I was super inspired to use some of these little corals that are coming up from the ground to kind of fill in the spaces along the bottom. I wasn't really sure, if it looked really finished at the bottom, and I think adding these little coral flowy pieces just are really bringing it more to life. And then the color as well. So I'm sticking true to what I saw online just in this documentary on Netflix I saw, and just kind of taking those images and kind of translating them into my own little paintings. But the color is like this violet purple, super like deep, like a not a totally dark purple, just like that medium violet purple. And I really like how it turned out. It comes all the way across the bottom. And other sea coral, just in my research online, I thought, oh, I would love to record some of these other sea corals, maybe floating like around the edges of the painting since I taped them off. Wasn't sure exactly how I was going to finish those edges of the painting, but I thought that might be kind of a fun way, maybe even with my calligraphy pen, to show some more of those corals that I've been really loving and kind of diving deep into. As I continue to work on my painting, I think next up will be the whale that's approaching the moon behind it. The moon's going to have some gold foil along with watercolor. And then the whale, as far as I have it planned out, that will be just like this navy blue whale, kind of fading into the light and darks of that color. And I did use some masking fluid along the lines of the belly of the whale. And so I'm going to kind of play with those once I remove the masking. So the whale's coming next. I've been envisioning it for a while and kind of just thinking about what color I want to use. And I think I'm going to go with like that deep navy turning into like a mild blue, just like a lighter blue towards the belly, and some white. So we'll see how that plays out, but I am absolutely loving painting this.